I want to welcome all viewers in preparing and on standby for the Wayne O'Toole show coming up. Just before we get started, and while we're waiting for our guest speakers to come on, this is an audio read from World Economic Forum. Please feel free to engage in the comments on the side, add anything you wish. 8 ways to unlock the power of a community. What is the key to happiness? This is a question that people have been asking for thousands of years, but this question need not be a hard and philosophical one. Studies at Harvard University, the London School of Economics, and other research have consistently identified the root of happiness: having rich social bonds and meaningful relationships. Being a part of a strong community is a powerful way for people to build those relationships in a faster, more scalable way. Membership in a community comes with an immediate level of social connection that can be developed further over time and can help people to expedite the formation of meaningful relationships. As a community manager at the World Economic Forum, I have worked with communities of young and socially oriented leaders across East Asia, the Middle East, South Asia, and Africa. In spite of cultural differences, the value of having strong communities is universal. Stronger communities enable emotional support, access to the resources and networks of other community members, exchange of knowledge and skills that leads to personal and professional development. Friendships that add joy to life and the potential to collaborate with others to generate greater impact in the world. I've thought a lot about how managers and leaders of communities can build and create stronger ones, and I've identified several key approaches to achieving this. Number 1, have buy-in on common values and shared purpose. Good communities share a common purpose, whether it's something serious like tackling a global issue or something lighter like exercising to get into better shape. Strong communities exist when members have a shared objective or goal that they want to achieve together. In addition, their members share common values. Values need to be articulated and widely understood. They also need to be reinforced and embedded into culture through various means. Values or purpose can be forged through co-creation, through inspiring people to accept them, or through having the right recruitment selection processes in place to accept new members into a community based on fit with already articulated values and purpose. Number 2, create rituals. One technique to embed values and build culture is through shared rituals that help to reinforce them. As a child in the USA, we recited the Pledge of Allegiance every morning in school to instill a sense of patriotism and pride in our country. In the Islamic religion, the faithful pray 5 times a day. Whether rituals take the form of words or actions, they create a practice that all members of the community partake together, and they reinforce certain messages or ideals that reflect the values or culture of the community as a whole. Use storytelling, number 3, to reinforce culture. One of the most powerful ways to embed culture in a community is through stories, through celebrating examples of how other people embody the values, behaviors, and attributes that you are trying to cultivate. It helps convey a more concrete example of how lofty or abstract words manifest themselves through recognizable actions. Stories are also most powerful when community members tell stories about each other, as opposed to talking about themselves, in order to reinforce the collective nature of the group. Number 4, enable connectedness. Good communities are communities where people know large numbers of other people in their group. Connectivity includes an awareness about others, what they are working on, what they are interested in, and what they are good at. Communities with higher levels of connectivity are better positioned for members to provide mutual value to each other and to yield more collaboration for a variety of purposes. Number 5, facilitate the building of trust. It's not enough for community members to know each other, they also have to trust each other. Without trust, the awareness of opportunities for collaboration and mutual support will never be acted upon. Number 6, maximize interactions. In addition to trust and connectivity, the frequency of interactions between members of a community is also crucial. More frequent contact allows for a higher probability that community members will discover ways to add value to each other. Community managers have a variety of tools to design more impactful interactions geared towards desired outcomes, particularly through the use of big data. Interactions can also be enabled through a variety of platforms, including different types and levels of interperson and digital engagement. Number 7, instill identity through branding. Brands give people a common symbol or name which binds them together and becomes a vessel for a common identity. Brands can take the form of symbols like national flags or corporate logos. Brands can also take the form of names like the names of military units or alma maters. Brands can also be manifested through song and music. Create, and the last one, number 8, create and encourage shared experiences. Shared experiences are a powerful way to build bonds between very different people. Often the most challenging or difficult experiences to get through are the most powerful at binding people together. Think of a sports team winning a difficult match or a support group for recovering addicts. There's an element of overcoming something with other people that expedites the development of uh, camaraderie and trust. However, shared experiences need not only be about overcoming something. Research shows that human beings seek out similarities with other human beings in order to forge relationships. Experiences as simple as having watched the same movie together or having lived in the same country provide a way for people to acknowledge a commonality and start further conversations. In summary and conclusion, community building can seem to be a soft and abstract concept, but at its core, leaders have a variety of practical tools and techniques open to them to build and strengthen the communities they manage. Whether they are comprised of employees in an office, citizens of a town, athletes on a sports team, or members of a social club, building strong communities is the foundation for successful execution towards any community objectives. When people have deep and meaningful relationships with other people in their communities, it enhances their emotional state and overall happiness, and in so doing, puts them in a better condition to collaborate with and support fellow community members to achieve more than any one of them could achieve alone. With that being said, viewers, I want to welcome you to stand by. Shortly in a moment here, we'll have the Wayne O'Toole Show, Episode 1. Thank you for watching, and let us know in the comments to the side where you're watching from.
Hi, everybody. So my name is Wayne O'Toole, and welcome to the Wayne O'Toole Show. So tonight we have a couple of guests. We have Gordon MacDonald, who's a member of Cape Breton for Healthcare, and also a postee. He's in the Postal Workers Union locally, and he's a local activist. And we have Karen Dean, who runs Countrified Clothing. And she's got a big project that she'd like to share with us today. So so let's we've got a busy couple of weeks. This is episode 1. We've already arranged. I think we're up until the 25th of June now, every Thursday evening. So it's coming quite well. So I appreciate all the support and all the people that watch and follow. So let's bring on our guests. Hey, hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hi, Karen. How you doing today?
I'm great. How are you?
Good. Gordon, how about yourself?
Not so bad, Wayne. How things?
Good. So I just wanted to check, make sure the sound was all good and stuff. I got a bit of a sun reflection in my window here, but not much I can do. So we'll start with you, Karen. So you run Countrified Clothing. Is that correct, right?
That's correct.
And you have a community program that you want to share with everybody with some amazing results from what I hear anyway.
Yeah.
So
5 weeks ago today, after the horrible mass shooting in Nova Scotia, I had lost a dear friend in that shooting and had connections to 3 other victims, which I think probably everyone in Nova Scotia has some connection to somebody because that's what we're all about in Nova Scotia.
Yeah.
And I just thought I needed to do something to help. So I've had this home-based clothing company for over 10 years. And it just made sense for me to design a shirt that showed, pride in Nova Scotia, that showed that we're strong and resilient and, that we can get through these tough times that we're in. And the response has been phenomenal. It has blown me away. I've actually sold more shirts in the last 5 weeks than I used to sell in a year. And all of the profits from the sales of these shirts is being donated to the Stronger Together Nova Scotia Fund, which was set up with the government and the Canadian Red Cross to help families in the communities affected by this. So I'm really excited at the 5-week anniversary today to announce that we now have a $70,000 donation to that fund. And my goal is $100,000. So we're 70% of the way there, which is phenomenal.
That's fantastic. $70,000 in 5 weeks that's fantastic.
Yes. And that's profits. So if you think about
for sure.
Yeah, I'm taking all my expenses out of that for the shirts and the shipping and everything. So it's phenomenal the amount of support that we have gotten for this, and I'm so grateful.
What do you think of that, Gordon?
Well, that's fantastic. That's amazing number. That's nice to hear.
Oh, for sure. It's nice to see any kind of community group that, I don't know if you're a group or an individual really, but you're supporting other groups. We need our community groups to come together. There's power in numbers. So support Countryfield Clothing. Hey, you must have, you have a web address or something?
I set up a new website for this fundraiser.
Okay.
So the website for this is strongerns.com.
Okay.
And all of the products are there and you can order. And I just want to caution people to read the details because there is a little delay in shipping. We're really busy. We've had hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of orders, and I don't personally ship them myself. I have a company in Truro that does that for me. So I have to wait a little bit to get my product to then ship it to my customers. So it's 10 to 15 business day wait. We're getting caught up, but I just want to caution people to be patient. You will get your shirts, but it takes a while.
Yeah. And that leads right into Gordon, because I don't know if you know Gordon or not. Gordon's a postie, and you're the president of the local. Yeah, the local. So it's CUPW.
CUPW right. Breton 117 and
right.
Sydney. The Cape Breton local.
So maybe you can help her get her shirts out faster. So call the office and say, get her shirts out there, guys.
Well, they've been doing a wonderful job. I
sure.
do have to send kudos to Canada Post. Our post office manager has been phenomenal. Just love her to death. And she's very grateful to have the business at our post office with so many orders coming in. Yeah. And I've had a lot of people say, oh, I got my order so quick. So I think Canada Post is doing a phenomenal job.
Oh, I agree too. I mean, and people get frustrated sometimes, but they have to realize, like, I mean, Gordon, you might have stats. How much increase in traffic have you guys seen through, the beginning of COVID? It's
Christmas every day, Wayne.
Yeah, that's right. So I mean, people have to be a little patient and understand, right? That these guys and girls are working hard. What was that?
I say we're days behind in delivery.
Yeah, but days isn't bad, not considering. I mean, holy cow, you guys are like, what, 30%? Did I read somewhere?
Yeah, the increase in parcel volumes is remarkable.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Anything like it in my 35 years being with Canada Post.
Yeah, for sure.
I see big volumes at Christmas time.
Right.
But we're moving 2 million parcels a day, is what they announced yesterday. Like those numbers are just were unheard of less than 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure.
We were hitting 1 million. We thought we were smoking, but now it's like we're hitting 2 million a day, and we just don't have the resources right now. We don't have the staff with COVID and everything going on. It's
no, for sure. Yeah, for sure. I was going to mention too. I'd seen a posting on your page from you had put it up from the president of the Postal Union.
Yes.
And what did that involve? I kind of did a quick, brief read, but it seemed like it was some pretty interesting stuff coming from Canada Post from the union side, anyway.
From the union side, I think that post was about our delivering community power, Wayne.
Right.
This book.
Oh, there you go. You got the book. There you go.
I keep a copy of it always around.
Yeah.
We pass them around everywhere. But delivering community power is, we presented this to the government probably about 7 years ago, maybe a little more. And we've been trying to get them to look at it. You take Canada Post, we're the biggest we're the biggest retail outlet in the country. We're bigger than Tim Hortons. We have the biggest fleet of vehicles. We touch every Canadian in all sectors. We deliver to the last mile. We're the only unit that does deliver to the last mile. So we're talking about and exactly what's going on here in the pandemic right now. We're talking about electrifying our fleet, putting charging stations at every post office in the country, to inspire other people to go and put their vehicles, to electrify their vehicles.
Yeah,
To start having a service where we can check in on seniors daily, as a knock on the door service to check to see on seniors so they can maintain to stay in their homes longer. Have a rural route and mail suburban carriers delivering food to these areas. Like we're talking about greening. Green. We want green energy to be able to invest in eliminating all the carbons that we use today. And this is a very the document was put together by some of the leadership at the union, along with some of the members across the country. And this little booklet has a lot of impact on the environment and how we can change society and how all workers should be involved in. And not only workers, but the Indigenous communities and the leadership across the country. And, we have a couple of local people, and I'll throw Lloyd McPherson's name out there. Lloyd loves this booklet. He's been pushing me to push it some more in here. And I tell him when I get some time, I'm going to hook him up with some of our people in Ottawa, because, it definitely has a lot of impact if we can get the government to bring some of these things forward. And the pandemic only proved the importance of having the post office and having us to be able to deliver these kind of services, during these kind of times.
That's right. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah, what a big organization to take on greening. I call it greening because that's pretty much what it is, right? Like, I have solar on my house. You guys know that probably from anybody who follows me. I'd love to have an electric vehicle. Put it on my solar and drive for free, right? You can't beat that. Like,
no, it's Wayne. It's what they're proposing in here is, and they're talking about postal banking. Postal banking for communities that don't have big banking business. Mm-hmm. I can give you just a little, and I don't want to take up a whole lot of your time on this, but they're talking about the 21st century post office. It's kind of like a brief. It kind of goes like Mary's going to the rural post office to mail a letter. I'll just add a little bit of it, but she notices things have changed over the years. So Outside, our neighbor's electric vehicle is plugged into the post office public charging station. Next to it, a mail courier is loading food and other products into an electric can to post delivery van. Post office's roofs are solar panels, and the wall display tracks how much power to generate.
Yeah, nice.
So you step inside, Mary sees a poster for programs to make solar panels and energy-saving home retrofits.
Right.
Clerks clerks are offering banking services, providing the community accessible banking and helping local businesses. So, and it goes on like that, and how the post office can change and how young people can come to the community hub for their internet and those kind of things. And, so yeah, it's an interesting book, and I hope people jump on board and see how this stuff works out in the future.
Yeah, it sounds great. Great. So the other thing I was going to ask about was Capers for Healthcare. You've been a pretty key member to that group for quite some time. So what brought you to healthcare? I mean, you're healthy, right? Like your health. There you go. That's right. So that's what brought you there. Like really, like did you have any kind of illness or injury?
So yes. So I'm a cancer survivor. I'm a brain cancer survivor. I'm a survivor. I'm 19 years in. I was a stage 4 terminal. Still was terminal. I had that when Premier McNeil came in and announced the closures of the hospitals. I had just had a major bowel resection, and I was just one day at the hospital when he came in on that day. And I said I had to get over there to see what the hell he was going to talk about, because I was shocked when somebody said that there were closures of the hospital. Lisa Baum was already involved with the emergency room stuff and the closures that were happening there. And she was over there that day. And when he announced the closures and walked away and walked out and wouldn't answer a question, and people like me had drugged myself out of a hospital to go and listen to what this premier had to say. And our own local people walked away with them and without a word to our residents. I thought that was shameful. If you're going to pay money to elected officials, I mean, they should be there to ask. They should be able to answer any question I want to ask.
Oh, for sure. For sure. Oh, my big push is for transparency and accountability within government. I mean, we can't survive this way. Government, it's not sustainable government.
No. 100% and transparency, and we got a government right now. It's the most secretive government in the whole country.
Yeah,
in Nova Scotia. So that that shame on this here. So that's kind of how I ended up into the healthcare stuff. And so when Lisa and I, we started out as the North Siders for the North Side General, and then
I remember that actually. I think I did a couple of protests with Lisa.
Yeah,
early on.
People from the other side, New Waterford and Glace Bay, were coming over to our rallies and meetings and. We were like, well, this is not a North Side issue. This is a Cape Breton issue. So, Ron will come up with a new name for us, new handle, and some poster face for us. And I believe we were successful, Wayne. I believe with the push we put, people that know Capers for Healthcare, we done a lot of protests. We went so far as we shut down the Cancel Causeway because we believed it was the right thing to do. We believe that some of the actions that we took in front of Jeff McClellan's offices over at the municipality buildings and those kind of things, and some of the marches that we held over the last 4 years and the last 2 years, I guess, since McNeil came in and made the announcement, we believe that has led to the changes in them recognizing that there was a need for more long-term care beds, and that we've got more long-term care beds coming in Glace Bay and into North Sydney. There was a need for no elimination of services at any of the hospitals. They're keeping the laundry department and everything over here on the north side. They've expanded the cancer center over at the regional. Yeah, that's great. But we're still fighting for the emergency rooms.
Yeah, that's the last missing piece, and I think that's the only piece that they really need to fill, because we've seen that Cape Breton Regional Hospital can't handle the level of, like when Glace Bay, Northside, and New Waterford closed at the same time. The Cape Breton Regional Hospital is like hours and hours and hours in ER, right? It's not functional. I don't even go anymore, to be honest. Even if I'm not feeling well, I try to, I'm doing my own thing here now because I don't really want to go spend 8, 10, 12 hours and I don't blame the people that work there. It's not, it's the system itself. You can't have, we have 130-ish thousand people, and we have one major hospital. It's kind of, especially for ERs. I mean,
Yeah, I don't believe it was a well thought out plan initially.
No.
I believe that they jumped the gun. We had this government was preaching a doctor for every Nova Scotian, and they failed. That was the most miserable failure of a government I can remember in many, many years. That's what they got elected on, and shame on them for balking on that whole thing, because they let that go by the time they got to their second mandate. That wasn't even a part of their platform anymore. That there was going to be a doctor for every Nova Scotian. Because they started
so you brought up something interesting. I want to kind of tag you in on that one. Is long-term health care. We've seen a lot of not so great stuff coming out. I know it happens in Nova Scotia as well. Well, we have one hospital in Nova Scotia that is, suffering the impacts, but Ontario and Quebec have some pretty major issues that were had the light shine on them by the military, which I know you've commented a bit on that. What do you think about that whole thing?
Can you imagine, Wayne, that you pay money to have your family, your seniors, your mom and dad, your grandparents, whatever, your elders, the people who came before us and done whatever it was they done to make a society work.
Yeah.
And we've taken the resources to take care of those people. And Stephen McNeil can blame himself for what's going on at Northwood or any other healthcare facility here in this province. And his health minister, who's been absent during this whole pandemic, they can all take a role to play in this long-term care situation. Because this long-term care, they cut the resources, the staff. They even cut the hours down. There was a campaign going on by the Nova Scotia Government Employees Union and Nova Scotia Federation of Labour some years ago about I'm not sure the minutes. I think it was 3 minutes. They had 3 minutes per senior to be able to manage them. And, these were cuts by the government. And only for the pandemic, these cuts and these horror stories would still be going on. It's the reason why McNeil don't want to have a review of what's going on in Northwood. He doesn't. They wanted to keep all this hush hush. Yeah. No, shame. Bring the military in to look after your seniors. Come on.
Yeah, right. It got to the point. That's pretty bad. I mean, we're supposed to respect our elders. Anyway, that's a whole big fiasco on its own for sure. I agree. What do you think would be if you could think of I don't know, not that we can solve it in a chat, but what would be a solution to this, these long-term care facility fiascos, really?
Well, they got to have the staffing for one.
Yeah.
They got to have the resources available to be able to take care of these people. I mean, it's not an easy task to do, but they can't be. You can't do this for profit.
No, that I agree with. Yeah,
has to stop. That's become the problem. Look what's happened in Quebec. I mean, and Ontario, and this will continue to happen throughout the country if we don't get these long-term care homes under the government's reign, because you can't have healthcare for profit, because that just won't work, because everything is a cut then. I mean, right down to the food they're eating, they're they're cutting the kind of foods they're getting, the amount of food they get, the kind of necessities they need, like their padding and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, I tell you, I heard a story, Gordon. This is not that long ago, maybe about a year and a half ago, that maybe more, could even be more. My memory's not that great anymore, but I heard the story of one of the homes that brought in an efficiency expert to control the amount of adult diapers and sizes per home. Yep. Right. So it's and I heard staff members at the time, I wouldn't say who they were for sure, but the saying, if you're running a large and all you've got left is small, you're not going to fit that small on a bigger person, right? And you can't control seniors' bathroom times, right? That's ridiculous. If they're seniors, they're going to, and especially when they're ill like that in long-term care, right? They need, they need very basics, right? And food is key. I mean, you can't be healthy without good food.
No, and the majority of these people have they have other medical issues like dementia and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, if they could take care of themselves, they would. I mean, I can't imagine that one of my family members, one of my parents, would be in a home and this was what was going on. It's just
Yeah.
I don't even have words for what I've been watching and listening to.
No, not at all.
To say I'm shocked is an understatement. I knew they were bad. I knew the homes were bad, and I knew the seniors weren't getting the kind of care. I sit with the Nova Scotia Federation of Labour as a representative with the postal workers, and I listen to the president of the NSGEU and CUPE Nova Scotia, and Janet Hazelton from the union. Oh,
we're losing some signal, I think.
About these all the time. Trying to make some headway with these things. So, the government and how they want to make cuts in every capacity in these places.
Oh, yeah. Well, that's the thing about privatizing. I mean, we've seen that example in 1992 when they privatized Nova Scotia Power. I mean, they can play good guy all they want, but, and they do some good things. I'm not going to say they're all bad, but I mean, their main goal is shareholders. That's it. It's not the people. It's not your energy. It's not the cost of your energy. It's shareholders. That's the base. Same with privatized homes, though. It's, if the shareholders aren't making money, they're not going to let them go, right? They're just going to, we saw that in Quebec. The workers walked out. They walked out of one of the homes because they just, and I don't blame the workers either, because obviously the conditions were so horrid they couldn't continue, right?
Yeah, and the majority of the workers that are in these places are there for the reasons that they want to be. They're there to help the people that are there. But in any job you have, Wayne, you cannot do your job if you don't have the necessities.
No, that's correct. Yeah, that's correct. I know a lot of home care workers and people that work on long term. They're great people, but they're just as frustrated as everybody else because people are coming to them looking for something. They can't give it. They don't have it.
No, that's exactly. I mean, they are employees. They're there to take care of our elders, and these long-term care homes. They shouldn't be left to go. Our seniors are one of the most important people left that we have at the end of life, and we should be taking care of them so that they don't have to go through any kind of discomfort in any capacity, like not having a diaper changed and not being fed.
Yeah, I know, right?
Those are basic human rights, man.
Yeah, for sure.
And we have an election coming up in the fall, Wayne.
Yeah, for sure.
And people need to start paying attention to what's going on in that. And because it's time that government is held accountable for what's happening in healthcare in Nova Scotia.
Oh, I agree. We have what's our municipals in October? When's our provincials in 21? Isn't it?
The municipals in the fall. And
yeah.
It all depends on when McNeil's going to call it. It's probably in the.
Well, that's true too. Yeah, that's a good point because
that'd be my guess.
Popularity is high right now, so if he could take advantage of that, it's only falsely inflated. But if he could take advantage of it, he would for sure.
Well, he can be sure he's going to try. Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah. So what else are we going to talk about? We're just sitting around here. So what about? Let's get into some poverty reduction issues. I mean, that's got to be. Canada Post has got a great new outlook on like how to make things better. How do you think that would impact poverty? Say if Canada Post had green fleet vehicles and banking in rural areas and, food for the homeless or food for the poor, bringing it to seniors' houses and that, like how
I can tell you this, Wayne, I know there's a lot of hungry people out there. I know there's a lot of hungry families. There's poverty. We don't have a lot of resources left here in Cape Breton.
No.
As someone who's been a letter carrier and on the street walking for a lot of years. I mean, I'm not a letter carrier now, but over the years, and I've seen how the closure of the fisheries and the mines and the steel plant, those kind of things, and how the impact on families. And I'm going to tell you, and being involved with the community cares outreach and city mines over the years, not so much recently due to health reasons, but over the years. You see these kind of places trying to deal with some of the people that are in these poverty situations.
Yeah.
And it's
community care is that
the
the old school? Yeah.
Behind the post office.
Behind the post office. Yeah, that's right. Yeah, my son went up there for some help there when he was trying to move forward with his education, and they did really good for him. They really good by him. So. Yeah.
No, they have a really good program, and they got the Northside Rising thing going on out there, which is another good program to help with, to identify what are the issues and what are the problems in our communities here on the North Side, And up until my health got bad, I was really involved with that, and we were trying to find a way to and identify. Well, actually, we were identifying the top 7 things that were people were talking about and what we need here for this island. So if anybody's listening and anybody wants to get involved in this kind of an activity, the Community Cares Youth Outreach building is on King Street in City Mines.
Yeah.
And they do have the Northside Rising program coming out of that, and it's funded by the government to try to talk about poverty, Wayne, and to talk about how we can rise above those issues, and to go what goes along with that is what's happening out there in the community, in the drug community, and the kind of hard drugs that are out on the street. And
that's another whole issue in itself. But I think, like, from my perspectives on it, poverty is one of the biggest causes of most of our issues. If people had steady employment, right, or some social programming, like, we could probably fix most of our problems. But currently what are we getting? 15 million grant in lieu, and we're paying 19.1 back. I mean, we can't sustain this kind of living, right? The government's got to start taking a little bit of responsibility and start, go of Metro and say, it's not just Cape Breton. I mean, that too. It's like rural Nova Scotia in general doesn't get the same treatment,
No.
Equalization, and there's a whole stem of problems that.
Well, I mean, I think I think it's all connected.
Yeah.
Every bit of it's connected.
Yeah, for sure. But so are we, though. That's the good thing now, is like we have these opportunities. Like, this is my first episode of my first live podcast ever in history. All right. So, I mean, if I would never thought of that when I was like 14 years old playing Atari in the house, like that I could communicate with the world, really, right?
It's pretty amazing to be able to.
Yeah.
I'm sitting in my garage, right? And,
I'm up in my little loft. I just have a little. My house is only tiny, right? But it's like I'm up in my little loft, and it's great. I mean, I've got lots of space, so why not use it? I mean, besides the garbage all around me, like I got all my, Christmas stuff and chairs, but whatever.
It's a good thing to do.
Yeah, that's right. Oh, for sure.
Oh, that's so. But I mean, there's lots on the go. I mean, this pandemic, though, Wayne. I mean, people going through a lot of mental health issues. Those things are not good for people, and what it all for me, what makes it all comes back is that we still don't have the resources. We have no people here that can deal with mental health issues. We got no people here in Cape Breton that can deal with childhood mental health issues. To talk to a mental health person or to try to get through some of them programs, you're talking. People need when somebody with mental health calls a mental health line. They need help now, then, right there. Yeah,
exactly.
Not in a week, 2 weeks.
Exactly. And it's the same as I post about it all the time too, though. But I'm not a big fan of Steve McNeil's "Stay the Blazes Home." It was catchy in the first little bit, but like, you need to get the hell out. Just do it safely, because mental health. I mean, I suffer from mental health issues because I've went through some health issues as well, as I talk about openly online with. I ended up getting a syndrome called polyglandular autoimmune syndrome type 2, which gave me type 1 diabetes as a kid. Then I ended up with Hashimoto's thyroid at 30, and then Addison's. And then the Addison's completely, for a while, crushed me, right? And then you develop, like, when I lost my career, I had a good career. I was like an executive at Atlantic Lotto Corporation, living high, like, lovely job. Like, but when you get sick, what do you do? I'm lucky. That's one thing. I have gratitude, because at least the corporation that I work for had a long-term disability program. So I'm not living in poverty. We're not living really high in the hog, but we've managed with what we have. So, but I look around, people around me, like, how does somebody survive on, like, if you're a senior and all you get are old age and a subsidy? I mean, what is that? $1,300, $1,400? Like, you can't even rent a house for that. Like, you can't. It's not even possible anymore. Yeah.
No. And I mean, because you said it, I mean, absolutely fortunate to have a job that I have benefits with.
Well, that's it, right?
Being through what I've been through health-wise over the last number of years. I mean,
that's it.
Cancer,
like, my prescription cost per month, if I didn't have medical, would be roughly about $800 a month, right? I can't afford that. Like, I'm lucky I have medical, but people don't, right? There's people out there that just don't have medical. Like,
I mean, I remember there was one of my cancer drugs. They used to call it the yellow submarine. That was $2 a pill. You need 2 of them a week, right?
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So, I mean, without a medical, like how people afford that, can it?
Yeah. I'm a big fan of nationalized pharmacare for sure. I mean, if you look at all the, like, we pay 2 private insurances and comes to roughly a little over $200 a month, which is not bad considering we're 100% covered for pretty much everything, right? But if we had a nationalized pharmacare, it goes back to the same thing where, it's not for profit. Like right now, I'm currently with a company that's for profit, right? So of course, everything, like my plans are going to cost more. Everything's going to cost more because somebody's got to make money, right? You shouldn't have to. People shouldn't make money off of other people's health miseries, in my opinion. That's just, it's the same as the seniors. If somebody's sick, nobody should be making money off that.
No, I think it should be a universal health care for everybody. I mean, pharmaceutical companies are too big. They make too much money and they charge too much for their drugs. We have an opportunity to be able to change some of that. I mean, how many billions do you really need to be happy?
Well, that's it, right? I mean, come on, like the wealth gap has grown to like, what is it now? 91% of the people make the same amount as the top 1% or something like that. It's a weird, then there's this little bit in the middle that kind of have it okay, right? But everybody else is like on far ends. It just isn't sustainable. We can't do this, right?
Yeah. The gap between rich and poor is getting pretty broad.
Well, yeah, exactly. Exactly. So if I was to say just magically, all of a sudden, Gordon, I have $100 million I'm going to give to you today, and you can do whatever social programs you want or fix your community in whatever way, just off the top of your head, what would be some top? I mean, 100 million is quite a bit of money for Cape Breton, right?
So I think we had 100 million dumped on us right here, Wayne. I think there's a few things that could happen. We could find a place to have a resource center for young people, a tech hub, a hub that where they could go, they could have whatever gaming capacity, because we're in a tech world now, and they have to have a place. It's no different than us when we had the pool halls and the pinball.
Oh yeah, that's right. Like I said, I just mentioned my Atari, right? I had an Atari way back in 2000, 19. I don't remember when that was, 91, 92. It was a long time ago, whatever it was. Yeah. No, that was Nintendo. That was Nintendo in 91. It was before that, 86.
It was before that.
Yeah, I was going to say. With the 4-directional controller, right? It wasn't very compared to today, but I can't play today's games. I just kind of get out of them, I guess. Now there's like 50 buttons on the controllers. I have not a clue, right?
Technical.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
No, so we got to start thinking about our youth. And we got to be able to educate our youth to be able to grow our island and be able to grow the resources around it. So, I think if we're paying attention to the people, the young people coming up, I think that will help make us successful down the road. And then we also got to start. We could take some of that $100 million and we could find affordable housing for people around here. And I tell you something else we could do, Wayne. We could start nipping in the bud the gouging and rent controls that people are paying. Rent, they're paying mortgages that they're paying higher rent than I ever paid for a mortgage.
Yeah, exactly.
Over the years, and these are renters.
Yeah.
And we got to find another way so that these people who are paying $1,200 and $1,300 a month to people that they're renting places off of, with nothing included, mind you, we got to find a way that government can say that's gouging. There's got to be a limited control on that, and you just can't have people being able to do that, or banks are going to have to find a way to be able to say, well, if they can pay $1,300 a month to a private renter, there's no reason why they can't mortgage their own home. And
that's right.
Some leniency for them.
Well, that's right. I mean, I tell you, Gord, I bought this house. It was built in 1939. I bought it in 2000, almost 2013. I bought it in like Christmas time, 2012. It cost me $26,500. I mean, the house is in pretty good shape for 26. I mean, I had to do some work. The bathroom we had to do all that stuff, and we've kept doing things to it. But my mortgage and taxes are like $367 a month, right?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's 1,000 square foot. I got solar on now that's costing me it's $28 more than my power. And I'm like way overproducing. You know what I mean? So you give somebody with like less income that opportunity. You say, here's your home. Right. We're going to put a greenhouse on the front of it. We're going to put solar on the roof. You pay us what you can afford, almost like a housing situation. You know what I mean? Like, you get a lot of benefit out of that. So it's not, like people will take advantage of a situation like that for sure, in a good way, though.
I'll tell you something else we got to do, Wayne.
All right, you lay her on me.
We got to find one way. We got to find a way to freeze taxes for seniors on fixed income.
Yes.
We got to find a way so that if they do repairs to their homes or they do anything, that their taxes don't go up, or they're not paying these kind of crazy fees, because these people are on fixed incomes and they've already paid their lifetime contributions to our tax funds. Mm-hmm. And I believe, they can still pay, but they should be frozen, and they should never have an increase in taxes as long as they own the home.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah. So,
Joe Ward,
that's what I would do if I had $100 million to throw.
There you go. It'd spend it pretty quick, no doubt. There's no doubt you would, because we need like effort everywhere. And I was just going to say, Joe Ward has some discussions on there about like if ways to do like a zero tax for so many years for people that come in from out of province or move here to to increase their tax base. It's not a bad idea. The young people, right? Bring them in. Like right now, what are our taxes now? Pretty much double what Halifax's are, and we just took a loan of $133 million to pay people's taxes. Like, you're going to loan money people to pay their taxes. Like, if you can't pay your taxes, you're not going to be able to pay the loan either, right? People are going to lose their home. Yeah, that's right. It doesn't work that way, right? So, yeah, for sure. So housing is a big one. And again, Gordon, going back to Capers for Healthcare, like, everybody has a certain responsibility, I think, to put, into their health. Like, I'm sure when you get sick, you did the best you could do to be healthier. You know what I mean? We have a certain personal responsibility that way, but without the resources, what are you supposed to do? Right. Like I do, Tai Chi now at home, and I do, sitting Kwai Gong, and, I do that stuff on my own, but, what an opportunity for people that are, that are suffering, from drug addiction, and they're trying to get clean. You know what I mean? Those programs are fantastic, but you're never going to find them free. Everybody charges for them, right? So like, I'm kind of privileged that way too, that I just do it on my own, though. It's YouTube and stuff, but yeah, for sure. Right. Like, healthy eating is another thing, right? You get people with low incomes don't eat, like it's like buy like fruits and vegetables and stuff. They're buying, like some of them are buying McDonald's and stuff because it's cheap. You get a meal for what, $12, I guess. I don't even know what it is. I don't eat McDonald's, so I shouldn't say. Yeah.
No, but I mean, you're right though. I mean, that's the way things are going. I mean, people are not eating healthier today because, I mean, the healthy foods are pretty pricey and they're pretty expensive. Right. I mean, exactly. You can go there. I know I went to buy some food for salad. I think I come in there $40 down just with some greens. So
yeah, I know, right? I get I subscribe to one of those box meals, Good Food, and I find them pretty good. Like they're not for people who can't, like, they're not cheap, but they're not expensive either. Like, I replaced my takeout and eating out with Good Food that I cook home myself, right? And that covers three meals a week, because sometimes you're like, for me, it's like, wow, what am I going to cook today? I'm trying to be healthy. And then, your first reaction is to just go grab something. I'm just going to go grab whatever at the, local store, pizza shop or whatever, which is great for the local businesses, but maybe not so good for your health,
Yeah. I try not to eat too much of that stuff anymore. I mean,
no, that's right.
I'm at a point in my life where I got to try to keep healthier. I mean, you go through all that other stuff, and it's like, you gotta, you can't be eating all that processed food and stuff. It's not good for you at all.
No, not at all, right? Not at all.
No. And I tell you something else we should do is talk about, like, throw a shout out to people like Lisa Bond and T.L. Sullivan Caring Closets.
Oh, for sure. That's another community organization, right? I mean, we could sit here all day and rhyme off. Yeah, Lisa's she's done a fantastic. She does clothing and school supplies too.
She does everything that you need, Wayne. I tell you, like, she come up. It all started for her with she had an encounter with a young girl that couldn't get anything, anything. She couldn't afford any woman items, and that's and that's how the conversation started with Lisa. And Lisa's like, that ain't gonna happen anymore. So she went she started the carrying closet, and
oh, she's got fire. Lisa has fire in her belly for a community, for somebody who takes, really takes or makes good use of activism. That's Lisa Bond. You know what I mean? She's not afraid to get like right in somebody's face, really. Not literally, but yeah, she's certainly been a great benefit to the healthcare issue in Cape Breton for sure.
The healthcare, like I said, and any time you're talking about poverty and kids in school and that kind of stuff. So, they make sure that they got food money and breakfast and that kind of stuff. So, very important stuff. Because I know back many years ago, my kids were young, up at the Gannon Road School. We started the very first breakfast program here in Cape Breton.
Is that right, eh?
And we were surprised at how many people utilized that program. How many kids? So it's always a good thing.
Oh, for sure, yeah, for sure. Yeah, where else are we going to go? I guess we're coming around to the end of the loop. I think.
I think so, Wayne. I think we're talked out now.
I think so too. Plus, I had a big supper, so I'm ready to go have a good old snooze on the couch. I think so.
This was a nice chat. I really appreciate being invited in.
Yeah, no problem. I appreciate you coming too. Like I said, we have Archie McKinnon's coming on next week. And then we have W. McNeil Electric, who saved my solar project because, I didn't ever talk about the downsides of mine because I'm not trying not to bash a Nova Scotia company, but the original installers weren't that great, and it took almost 2 years to get my solar up and running. But W. McNeil, they were fantastic. I mean, the guys rewired the roof. They did the entire job over. Like, it was crazy, right? So they were saviors for my solar project for sure. They're coming on, and I think that would be one. Archie, W. McNeil. I've got Scott Sharplin from Extinction Rebellion coming on. So yeah, it's going to be a busy lineup, and there's quite a few more people coming too. I might even get in touch with Lisa now. See, that's the good thing is, like, by doing the show, talk to you, and you bring up Lisa, and I'm like, oh, Lisa, you know what I mean? You don't quite
you have a great conversation.
Yeah, that's right. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, I might have to hit her up and say, what are you doing? Well, it'll be the 25th. It'll be the next show that's free, but yeah, for sure.
No, I'll definitely be watching your program, and I mean, it's an interesting format, and
I think I like it too because it's my first time too. Like I was never really a public speaker either. You know what I mean? Not that I was ever short of words. I was never short of words, but not this kind of dynamic. But yeah, like I'm just looking forward, like, because the viewership is Canada, well, worldwide. We have people viewing it from Scotland. We have people from all over Canada. Like, I just saw somebody from Toronto on the feed. Like, it's crazy, right? We're reaching and it's not our issues, although they might be, kind of larger in scale in some ways, but I think it's common across the entire country. I think like in rural areas, especially, we need more community engagement. We need more community collaboratives, circular economies. We need to grow our own food, but, maybe I'm the forever optimist. I don't know, but I think we can do it though. I think the pandemic has certainly brought us to a new place that we haven't been before. You know what I mean? Like it's time to change. We don't have a choice anymore.
Yeah, no, it's a good opportunity to be able to change, and these kind of formats to be able to do and bring people in like this and get this message out. This is a new way to go, and I kind of enjoy this kind of a format.
Yeah, me too. I actually do enjoy
pretty
it.
Relaxed atmosphere.
Yeah, well, that's what I kind of call them. What I started nicknaming them when I'm telling people about them is like campsite fires. You all sit around the campsite, fire, have a beer, and everybody chats, right? It's like, that McNeil guy, or the mayor is doing that. That's what we do in Cape Breton, but it's time to take action now. I think the talk is great. This is wonderful. I love this dynamic. I think just now though we need to stretch it a little bit further and kind of, join as a like Capers for Healthcare, Nova Scotia Equalization, the group for Nova Scotia Equalization, my groups, like, you know what I mean? We all need to come together. Like, doesn't matter. Like I always say too, like, you could be left or you could be right. I don't care. I really don't care. Right. It's, if you have a valid solution to a problem, bring it, like this fighting between left and right's got to stop. It's divisive and we can't.
That's so discouraging watching growing people say that, oh, you don't have a good idea because you've got a blue shirt on. Oh, you don't have a good idea because you've got a red shirt on.
Well, that's it, right? Yeah. Like,
believe me, somewhere in the middle of those two shirts, that's a pretty good idea. And
yeah, exactly.
Stop fighting is to recognize it.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed.
So,
Well, it was
listen,
good.
Wayne, I really appreciate this chat. So
Yeah, it was good talking to you, Gordon, for sure.
yeah. So
And,
you have a great night. Tell Rebecca I
too.
said thanks for the invite.
Will do.
You know,
Will
and
do.
I'll definitely be watching in and keeping an eye on everything that's going on with your
I
show.
really appreciate it. Keep sharing it. We want to get the numbers up because the more people that watch, the better it is for us, right? Bring exposure to where we are. Like we have a beautiful island. We have an absolutely stunningly beautiful island, and people in Canada that are watching. If you've never been here, don't come right now because they're probably closed up. But when everything starts settling down, come on down. I mean, you can't we've got the number one rated trail and we're the number one rated island in multiple magazines. Like we have all the resources we need here. We just need people to say, okay, you know what, we're going to change the dynamic. So maybe
we got the R&R, buddy. That's what
we've got the R&R. There you go. Right. All right, Gordon, it was great talking to you.
You too,
And we'll chat later on.
You have a great night. Take care.
All right.
Good night, buddy.
Bye-bye. So there we go. That's our show for tonight. Great talk with Gordon and great talk with Karen as well. A great project she has. Yeah, we've just got to do better. I mean, there is no other option, right? There's no option for the same old. I don't care, like, you know, what partisan politics. I'm not into the partisan politics. So, you know, if you have any ideas, you want to be on the show, just reach out, right? I'm going to be here every Thursday for as long as you guys will watch, right? So anyway, signing out for today, and you guys have a good night. Bye.